Hi, loves. Welcome to it's not even a new episode of the podcast. As a matter of fact, it's not a podcast episode. This is a limited series, and we're calling it Villa Vibes and Hot Takes Island Edition, hosted by AW Confidential. This will be the messiest little corner of the web where we sip the tea, spill the truth, and roast these reality boys and girls on their shenanigans with zero apologies. I'm Yvette, author, truth teller, podcast host, and your favorite voice of reason in a villa full of red flags. Joining me for some fun is Avani, who I'm sure you guys have seen. Now, she's been watching with me and she's been peeping into the lives of these messy islanders. And messy is the key word. The season 7 of Love Island, I was going to say Long Island. I don't know if there's a big difference, but just kicked off. And baby, the drama is already hotter than a midday fire pit. So grab your
Child.
So grab your wine or your coffee or your tea. Today I'm having an Aperol spritz. Clutch your pearls and let's unpack who's here for love, who's here for clout, and who clearly needs therapy.
I think they all do. But
We
okay.
all we all need a little therapy. It's okay.
No,
It's okay.
we're not talking about us. We're talking about them.
So let's dive in.
Oh,
Can
child.
we can we start with who's your favorite couple so far? Because we're like a week in.
Um, I guess so far it would have to be Huda and Jeremiah.
Interesting. But what do you think about the love bombing though? Because it is love bombing.
It
He's
is. No, it is.
because he's too overprotective, too
But
like controlling. He's a
you know
little
what the
much.
thing
No
too
offense,
is though?
Jeremiah.
No, you know what the thing too though is? It's that I like it is definitely love bombing. But at the same time, I'm also like, there's nothing wrong with like, I mean, I get it. They're in the first couple days, like they should be getting to know other people too. But I also, as I don't know, maybe it's because I'm someone that I couldn't see myself, like I would see myself having a very hard time trying to like essentially manage multiple people at once. I
I don't
also
know. I have
don't, I
girlfriends
have
that
no,
say you should date multiple people at once. Not
and I
sleep
think
with all of them,
no, no,
but
no.
date
I
them.
think that's up to, like that's to each their own. Personally, I'm like if I'm gonna get to know someone, I want to put all my energy into just one person because then
Okay.
I feel like it starts getting messy. Like, and we see it every single season. The moment that people start talking to three, four, five different girls or guys at once, shit turns messy. And so I'm also like, because of that, I'm like, I don't blame them for only wanting to kind of talk to each other. And I know that they be getting on, more specifically, they get on Jeremiah, like the boys get on Jeremiah for it. And
Well,
I'm
you did
not,
you see you mentioned it though. Did you see that part when Ace he kind of was shading
Ace,
Jeremiah a
yeah,
little bit.
he was shading him a little bit, and like I'm not. I low key love Ace because he's very open about who he is. He knows it. He owns it, and I like that. But I don't like, and it's usually Ace that I notice, and I don't even want to call it devil's advocate because I don't know if devil's advocate is the right word for it. But he has a tendency to kind of be like, well, what if it was like blah blah blah? If you
He's
were
the
that guy, and I'm like,
instigator.
why are
Wait,
you? He's instigating, but he's also creating like almost trying to like put a lot of negativity onto like their forming relationship,
but there
and
was
I don't know if
one
I
of
love
them
that.
did that last season. I forgot his name. The one that
Kendall,
had Kendall played both sides of the field.
yeah, and Kendall was playing the game
And
really
I don't
well.
mean that sexually. I just mean he kind of played I just mean he kind of like, he was for the girls, but he was a guy's guy. So he did
And
that too, though.
we also saw how quickly that like it started out really well for him,
That shit
but once
snowballed
we
on
started,
him.
yeah, once we started hitting like what was it? I think it was Casa. No, but once we hit Casa Amore last year with Kendall, that was when shit went sideways for him, and he was in the doghouse pretty much for the rest of that season.
True.
So it's
But
like,
Ace kind of plays that part in this whole
yeah.
messiness, though. I could
But you
see
know what's
it.
the only thing I can appreciate? Well, and I don't know if they've called it out themselves, I think they've kind of tried to, like Jeremiah was trying to fight back it a little bit, but Ace is at least very open about the fact that he's doing that in a
That's
sense.
true. That's true.
Like Ace isn't like he's not like telling the girls one thing, but then coming to the boys and being like, "Well, I think you should do X, Y, Z." Like
That's true. That's true. He is
that's
pretty
where I give him
transparent
kind of almost
so
that grace because it's
far.
for right now. But maybe it's because he's single.
And talking about single,
Uh
you
huh.
wait, that untimely departure of Yulisa, I was shocked. There was no announcement. There
No,
was
and I
no
didn't realize. I think they did. It was so
when.
small though. Ian, the voice of like, the one that
Yeah.
narrates the whole thing, I didn't even realize it. He must have slipped it in so like kind of like easily that it just went over my head completely. But I think he literally
But you're
said,
pretty
"You Lisa
detailed.
has
Like
I usually am, but I didn't it was
it
done
was
so I quite literally think they snatched her up in the middle of the night and was like, "You Lisa, let's go."
I think there are
Because
memes about that.
there are
Because
so many of them.
what?
I
No,
was right
because
before
he
we
just
hopped
said,
on. I was watching a TikTok that was like somebody was like joking about how it must have went down, and they were like, "You Lisa, you got a sex? Yeah, it's time to go. Let's go."
but what I didn't like literally it was he was like, "Oh, but I'm single." I'm like, "Wait a minute. Where's
I was like, "What you
Yulisa?"
mean?" And no, it took me a while because like the girls are all talking. Like this was already once they came back from like the hideaway and stuff, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, it's awfully quiet. No offense, no offense in that sense. But like I was like, it's awfully quiet. Like, and it didn't click to me because she wasn't a main character in my mind. But then I was like,
Oh shit.
girl, wait, why? I was like, where's she at?
Pause that.
Oh.
It's okay, I get it. I knew I had to do something.
Is some dying, isn't it? Mm-hmm.
Ah, God for editing. Anyway,
I'm over here trying to keep my notes open.
okay. Back to the show.
But yeah, no, like it was like suddenly she was there, and then
And
next
she
thing
was
you know,
gone.
Ace is in his confessional saying that, oh, but I'm single, da da da, whatever. And I was like, what do you
He
mean
is
he's single?
single and ready to mingle because
Well, he been ready
he's
to mingle. He
he's
been
kind
mingling with Shelly.
exactly.
Well, he been my bad. He been mingling with Shelly and more than likely every single other girl bombshell that's gonna come in. So
Well, he seemed to have liked Sierra's makeout session. Didn't he make out with her? Yeah,
yeah,
he
he was
did.
on her ass,
Exactly. So
which
I'm
I'm
sure
not
he's
surprised
not
by,
way that disappointed.
but no.
I don't know. I can't read him yet. I'm not sure I like him too much,
You
but
know what
we'll
it
see.
is too? It's when you think about the fact that he's a baby. He's
How old
22.
is
We're
he?
the
Oh,
same
he
age.
is?
Yes.
Oh,
He's a
okay. Maybe
baby.
that's what it is. It has to be.
I'm not
Maybe.
gonna lie though, I have seen a couple of his TikToks. That man is mad
Oh,
funny.
really? Is he? I
He's
gotta
a
check it
clown.
out.
He's like genuinely funny.
I
But
don't know. I like as far as the guys, I have to say, I like Jeremiah. I don't know what it is, but I like him. But it's almost like I like you, but you a little toxic type of thing.
yeah,
And
you
we
could
all
tell he has
know,
that little bit of toxicity to him. I think
yes,
I think naturally
yeah,
everybody in general, people as a whole, everybody has a little bit of toxicity to them. Sometimes it's not too much where it's like it becomes problematic and it's like, dude, you're fucking toxic. But
100%.
I think everybody that has, and he definitely has that little bit of it. I mean, he's also, I think almost everybody on this cast has had stuff come out about them in
I
some kind
guess
of way,
that's the
shape,
goal.
and or form.
Yeah, that's the whole point. But talking
But,
about toxic, what do you think? I'm gonna say it. What do you think about Austin?
child,
Let's take a
I
pause.
personally think Austin got to go. I mean, he's another one that has had a lot of I would say not as controversial as Ulisa come out, but
I
he's
think
had a
he's
lot of controversial stuff. And you know what the thing about him is? It's that it's him and Nick. They're almost two peas in a pod in terms of characteristics and how they choose to present themselves. Austin tries to come off as this like super innocent guy. He talks like super lowly, like it's it almost seems like I wouldn't call it calculating just yet because I don't know him that well,
I don't.
but he's very like it seems the way that he brings him like presents himself is very I'm very innocent. I don't, I don't talk too much, but
That's
like
how he gives off
whatever.
that energy, though. He does.
And then you go to hit the what was it? State your case challenge.
Oh yeah.
I was scared by them numbers. And clearly Shelly was too. Shelly said I got the busiest one of the bunch. Yes, you do.
Yeah, that actually that was surprising. But wait, but even before I get to that, because I am gonna ask
Sorry.
you about the game. Biggest red flag moment so far.
Um
And Austin, by the way, to me, he's disingenuous, but we'll see.
yeah, I
We'll see.
there's something I can't pinpoint it just yet,
He's
but
off, right?
there's something off there. Um
Let us know in the comments if you agree.
Please do. Give us your thoughts and opinions.
Yeah.
Um,
Biggest red
I
flag
would,
moment.
I, girl,
I know it's
I'm not gonna
hard.
hold you. No, for me, actually, it's not even a moment; it's a person. My like
Oh, damn, a
for
walking red
me,
flag?
it's
That's
and
deep.
it's Nicholas.
Really?
I find because and here's the thing
Interesting.
is Nicholas, and this is why I was saying about Austin because Nicholas does the same. Nicholas is someone who I find that he did it really really well, and I felt so dumb after, and it's only episode 2, and he did it so well where he presents himself as this like super cute innocent guy who like
How old is
doesn't
he?
like he's 24.
Thought he was younger. Okay.
No, I thought so too. I actually would have thought
Interesting.
him and Ace were the other way around.
Well,
I would have thought Ace was 24 and he was
when
22.
when he said 50-50, I'm like 50-50. What the fuck?
I'm already traumatized by 50-50 from last season. But
Wait, what? Oh, last season,
you
I
don't
don't.
remember it was Hannah when she was with Kendall and she was going back and forth between who was it, her,
Oh,
Kendall and
yes.
Hakeem, I think it was. And she was like,
Yes.
I'm 50-50. And then 50-50 became a whole thing throughout the entire season. And Kendall was like, oh my God, I'm traumatized. And I was like, damn, I'm traumatized too at this point.
Well, Nick was like, I'm 50-50. I was like, oh shit, here we go
And then he was
again.
like, well, what was it? I'm 51-49. I'm like, please stop. And here's the thing that this is why I find Nick to be a red flag. I feel like Nick, the way that he brought himself forward, he was like super sweet and caring and was like, he was like, yeah, like I'm all about you, Bella. And like, like he plays it off as though he's like a really sweet, like caring, like
So you
not
don't
a
think
lover
he's
boy. I don't think so. I think that man is there for a piece of ass and that's it. Because,
well, the Christian is not giving him much love, so
but it's also like, my thing is that,
Bella's not into that. It's hilarious
and
how everyone's kissing
but
her
I
on the
also
cheek.
like, I
But
respect
why
that
are
though.
you
And I
on Love
respect
Island though?
but like, I think,
Come on.
I think the thing too though is that like,
Love Island
let's
is
be
a
honest.
walking sex
It is,
pot.
but let's also think back to a few seasons ago with Marco and Hannah. Because Marco,
Oh,
I think more than Hannah, I would say, he's very like in his, he has his religiousness and he's very respectful of that. And he was very respectful
okay.
of Hannah as well. Even throughout like even while having to do the challenges, he was still very respectful to her and
Okay.
never once
Yeah, that's true.
and I feel like
That's
there
true.
definitely was someone, and I can't remember who it was, who kind of I feel in my head it feels like there was someone who was very similar to Bella in a sense, or at least started off that way, and as they got more comfortable, because it's also like I don't blame her personally. Like you've only been there for what a couple days, and
That's
you're
true.
expected to be kissing all up on
Yeah, that's a good
all these
point.
different people. I'm like, I just met you, and so I'm like, I understand her in that sense because also looking at we had like her what was it her numbers or her body count number or something like
Oh
that. It
yeah.
was only one.
One.
So I also understand at that point, like especially with that confirming it, I understand why she's like, if I'm gonna kiss you, I only kind of want to be kissing you, like,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah, that makes sense. I get it.
again to each their own. You want to kiss everybody, that's on you. I have
Yeah,
I
it's a
have no problem
personal
with that.
choice. It's a personal
But
choice.
so like I respect her for it. Like and I think it takes a lot to get up on a show like this specifically and put yourself out there while
Yeah.
also receiving that kind of backlash for being a little bit more reserved and for like putting, because again, I'm not putting anybody down in this, but for in a sense, like she's putting herself on a pedestal. She's like, you know what? I don't want to like swap saliva with every single guy here. Like that's not who I am.
Not that there's
And
anything wrong with swapping saliva,
no, there's
guys.
literally nothing wrong with it. Like, and again, this show is kind of built off that. But I think it takes a lot more for you to get on this
Are you
show
kidding me? Remember
knowing
the
that you're
food
not that way.
challenge? Yeah.
The
Sorry.
one that they do
Sorry.
every year.
It's gross. I can't.
Oh,
Actually,
that is
that's
disgusting.
that segment that I just skip. I can't do
I
it.
think I usually skip over it completely. I don't even. I
I
can't.
can't.
I
I just
I can't
can't.
do it.
So for me, I say my biggest red flag moment was the love bombing from Jeremiah. I'm not sold on him. I don't know. There's something it makes me uncomfortable. Love bombing is
That's fair.
I don't know. So, what do you think about Huda not telling Jeremiah about having a baby? Or actually, her daughter. Wait,
Her daughter's 4.
so she
I
is a
mean,
baby, not a baby
yeah, she's a
baby.
baby. Like
She's a baby.
I don't know. I understand it. Like I think it's it's definitely one of those things that okay, I understand. You
Well,
should.
she's like, I
For
want
some
to
people,
wait until he really shows me he's there for me. I'm like, you're gonna wait
who
for him
was
to like
I
you?
think I might have saw someone like or read something, but someone said I don't know if I don't remember if it was on the show or um in like on like Twitter or something, well X or whatever.
X.
Um I don't remember where I saw it, but if anybody knows what I'm talking about, please put it down below. But someone said basically that if he likes her genuinely, it doesn't matter when he finds out, if he finds out right
That's
now or if
true.
he finds out a year from now. If he
That's true.
genuinely likes her, it's not going to matter that she has a kid. And it's not going to
That's
matter
true.
when he found out. Like, and if he really is like, you know what, this is like somebody I genuinely want to know, that's not going to make a difference.
That's
So
true.
it's like, if and I get it. It's also like she's already putting herself out there by being on the show. Like she's on national
Yeah.
TV, and which isn't even at this point national. It's kind of global because people from the UK even watch it. So it's
Yeah.
like she's putting herself out there globally, and that's that. Especially her saying, "I have a kid." That is only information that she herself will be able to tell someone once
That's
because
true.
you already know that these boys are going to go start sharing it to every single other guy and it'll never be her story to tell anymore
Let me
and
tell you
she will
something.
be judged for the
What
rest of her time
one
on
I'm glad you mentioned that. One of the things that I noticed, they always talk about how females are like catty and they shade a lot, like, but these boys are messy. Like they shade, like when with Ace and Jeremiah, like they shade quite a bit, and you see how they're like the gossip. They love the gossip. They feed off of it.
the show and they do it within themselves as a group but they also do it in their breakaway groups as well like Ace did with Taylor. So he had already said what he had to say to Jeremiah and then he went and doubled down and said the same thing to Taylor.
Well, we're gonna see what
Even though he
happens.
was calling him out, low key, he was also calling him out. So it was kind of like it was shade, but it was also like I was surprised at the fact that he was even calling him out like that.
Wait,
But
so talking about shade, you mentioned this and I didn't catch it.
oh yes,
If any of you guys caught it, please let us know in the
because
comments.
I
You
found it to
said
be hella shady.
shade
Or
with Sierra and Bella.
maybe she didn't mean it like that, but it was. I think it was when the girls were getting ready and everything, doing their makeup for like the night portion and everything. Um, I think Shelly said to Sierra, she was like, "Oh, girl, like your makeup looks good. Like you look good." And Sierra goes, "Yeah, thank you. I gotta keep my man." While Bella was in the room, after knowing
Oh,
all like how Bella because remember the girls are at this point they were already speaking about it. Like I'm pretty sure Bella had already been like, "I don't love the fact that this happened. Like I did really like him X Y Z or whatever," and because
yeah.
Sierra
Yeah, that
seems
okay.
really
I didn't
nice.
pick You're
She
right, I
doesn't
didn't
seem
pick up on
super
that.
like she doesn't seem like a mean person yet. We don't know what anybody just yet. It's only been 2 episodes, but I found that to be super shady. I'm like, girl, you already know that you just took her man. Actually, let's. You know what? Like
Mm,
Bella said, take them. But like, it's like, girl, you already know that this is right now, it's a sore spot for her. Like, she's still feeling like those emotions. And for you to say that was crazy work.
Okay, I see it.
She
Now I
seems like a
see it.
sweet, yeah, she seems like a sweetheart, but like, I just thought that for me, that was hella shady.
That's fair. What do you think about Charlie? We can't leave without talking. What do you think about Charlie? I love his accent, by the way. I do.
Girl, it's hard for me to love in the accent after Miguel from last season.
That's true.
It's
Miguel
so
is a
hard.
favorite.
Miguel
Miguel is a
Miguel
favorite.
is a favorite, and it was something about, I think it was the personality mixed with the accent that just made
Yeah.
the accent
He
so
was
much better.
smooth though. He was smooth.
Girl, Leah, if this
Leah,
reaches Leah,
yeah, Leah,
praise you, girl. I love you.
100%. She
Hey,
knew what she was
you
doing. And he,
yes.
you remember
Hey,
when he came
Miguel,
in, I was
you
like,
got a
who the
bad
hell is
bitch.
this douche? Yes, yes.
Because
I love
but
it. I love
again,
it. The
and this is the only thing is
transformation, I
that
love
like
it.
that's exactly what I was gonna say. Like
Yeah.
that's why I loved Miguel, and like Miguel, and I maybe Ace might end up being the same way, low key.
I don't
I
know.
could see
We
him having a moment if he finds his Leah. Where remember, Miguel came in, he was messy as hell. He was all over the place. He was also super like he owned who
didn't.
he was. And
That's true.
then he developed his relationship with Leah. And look at those two.
I
Like
know.
I
Yeah,
would not
that's
be
true.
surprised. Like I know from based off what I've heard, like them talk about and like on their own pages, they've discussed like they're already looking for like a place and stuff like that in LA, and like they're moving forward.
That's
So
cool.
I could see Ace doing that same thing if he at some point gets serious and like or finds someone that he's like, I actually want to be serious about this person.
Well, we're hoping. We love a
Can,
good love story.
girl, I was gonna say, can we talk about Olandri and Taylor real quick? We can't skip over them too.
I don't know. They're kind of irrelevant for me right now. They're just not.
Really?
They're not doing it for me. They're not doing it
Oh,
for me.
I was gonna say, how do you feel about that whole like him standing up and like her, shifting over
I'm
when
sorry. That was shady as shit. Maybe that's why I'm like, he just totally turned me off. I
okay.
get it, right? I get it. Like that's what the game is about. But to me, it just, I don't know, it was shady. Like, and it honestly, it took me
I
by
didn't expect
surprise.
it
So
either.
I can imagine how she felt. So I was like,
Because I do understand they did say they were open. And oh, this is okay, so this was the conversation I did want to ask you about and like ask your opinion on. Because not because, but that conversation or like argument or back and forth, whatever it was that you would call it, that they had where he had an issue with the fact that she scooched over when he came to sit down with her, and he kind of was like, well, um I can't get mad at the fact that she kissed somebody else, but like she can get mad at me for like standing up. I personally was like, does he not understand that those are two very different things? First of all, she was very upfront with the fact that she stood up and kissed someone else, and she told you exactly who it was and the reason why she did it, and she communicated it with you after she did it. She didn't even have to. But he raised his hand saying that he wanted to get to know the new girl. He never told her. And
nope.
then after that, there was never I or not that I remember, but I was paying attention at that point. There was never a conversation that he wanted to like recouple with her. And that's what I think he doesn't understand is that
It's one
him
of the many
standing up, it
things
wasn't
boys don't understand.
yeah, no, yeah. but but in this case, it was literally like he was not seeing the fact that like he wasn't standing up to say, "Oh yeah, I'm interested." He was standing up to say, "I want to recouple with you." So it wasn't even, oh, like I'm interested in like continuing to talk to them. It was I
I don't
fully
like him.
want to like leave my couple, leave you single, and go recouple with someone else. And that's where like I don't understand what he doesn't understand about that and why she was upset with that. And I
I
get
don't like
it.
I don't like him. I don't like
They yeah.
him. I don't like them. I just I don't
After
see
I mean,
it.
I he was kind of turning me off a little bit after his intro, like when they introduce each like person as they come into the villa, and he said that comment about if you can't take care of your feet, how are you going to take care of me? I was already turned off.
That's a
Since
red
that
flag,
moment,
right?
I was like, what? I was like, the
Yeah.
fuck you mean?
Yeah. That was
If you
a
can't take
that
care of me, you can't take care of me.
red flag moment.
I'm like,
Absolutely.
child, why do I have to take care of you? Why can't you take care of yourself? Isn't he like, what is he, 28, 27 or something like that?
I don't
I
like
might
him.
be,
I
but
don't
I'm
know,
also
something
like,
off. But I don't want to let you go without making sure we talk about cheaters, partners in one day, the the guy or the girl who says I love you most, sending nudes, and body count. Body count is always one of my favorites because this is a tale as old as time. Like when a guy asks you for your body count, first of all, either you don't tell them or you kind of just lower the body count to the minimum. But anyway, it's always a thing. Like did you see that Jeremiah and Huda had the same, right?
in terms of, what was it, sleeping with people in the same day? Yeah. I think their body count was different though.
Was different. No, he had more. Yeah, he had
Yeah,
way more
I
women.
think the in terms of stuff like that, the guys all had a lot more. I think in general, the guys' numbers were all
But
either double, triple, or a lot more than
it's
that.
so regardless of the question, there's always like this double standard. And that's something that as women we live with every fucking day. Like literally. We have to be, I don't know, be better, act better, like all these rules that we have that
Hmm.
men don't have. Like men can have 20 women.
Yep,
Yeah,
literally.
he's
As
a
which is what you
man.
saw with the rest of, with all the boys and how they were reacting.
Exactly.
Their comments to the women were absolutely wild to me. I'm like, what is? She said what? Two people,
Oh,
and
when she said two in
realistically,
a day.
She
Ah,
said she said two
do
in a
you?
day, and that's
But
because
I
the
love
first one
that she
didn't do it
said
right.
exactly. I loved it. I was
And
like,
I'm like,
yes,
and what was the first thing that they were? They all made faces. They all made comments. They tried, and they, especially given the fact that she was standing up there, and it bothered me. I think more because obviously us as the audience, we know, girl has a kid, so
yeah.
I'm like, if Girly wants to do what she wants to do, she should go do that. She is a single mother. She is living. She's only 24. I'm like, y'all.
But I loved Jeremiah's response to that.
I'm glad that
That's why I like him. I
he
think
stood up
because
for for her, and
yes, he
he
did. He
pushed
did.
back.
He
It wasn't
did.
just, well, we had the same number, and then he let
Yeah.
them keep rolling over her. He did it over and over again. So for me, like, I did really like that, but
And he
I
was
was
like,
still like, I think Ace made a crazy ass comment towards her, and she said, like, she didn't say anything, but
I
her
don't
face
know.
said it all. And like, I'm my thing is, the girls, I think the highest number in general was what, 18
Yes.
overall. While you got Austin over here with thousands of
By the
nudes.
way, I don't really believe, I don't, thousands. How do you even
His,
really? How
I would, on
you know what it takes? How old is he? He's not that old.
Austin's 27, I think.
So
Like
was that
27.
over the course of like when he was 18 to 20, whatever? Like thousands? That's a lot. That's a lot. I don't know.
It was probably starting from when he was 12, my guess would be. But either way, like,
God,
I
I
think,
hope
but
not.
that's, who knows. But either way, it's still like, this is where we come back to that issue with him. He presents himself as like this super quiet guy that like has done nothing wrong. This bitch out here with thousands of things, 100, what was his, 104, 108 as a body count. I was like, what the I was like, how
What
you
were there any shockers for you in that during the game?
um I think I did write it down. Let's
You
check.
did?
Yeah, I
Ooh.
was taking notes. I was most shocked that Austin and Nick had the highest.
Oh.
Nick was at like 800 nudes.
Oh, you're right.
Um
I forgot about that.
I Yeah, his, oh, and then it was also Nick throwing around like the I love yous. His was 50. Um, and then Ace telling people that he loves them. It was, I was
But
shocked at
he
the fact
said
that
he's
Ace
never
was
been in
confused.
love. He said
No, he said he's never been in love, but he was like, well, what do you consider like, I was like, Ace, the fact that you gotta
well,
ask that question,
but I kind of get it because sometimes you're like, oh, I love you. Although I don't use those words lightly. If I say I love you, it's
I
like
could,
Like, you know
I
how
could count
sometimes
like
what was
maybe
it? Oh,
once ever saying it.
when
Like
Huda walked
it was I
away
think it
and she
was
was like,
what
"Love
Jeremiah,
you."
and obviously that was a very like she said, "Oh, my bad." Like it was just
Yeah,
like a quick reaction. Like I didn't.
right.
It was like a natural reaction. But coming
24
from
hours
somebody
is
who's never even been in love, that tells me you're throwing it just to like
get
continue
some
getting
ass.
that ass, and then you push him to the side after. And I'm
He
like,
just
hey,
didn't want to say that.
no, he didn't. That's why he was confused. Like, I'm like, what? And then you got Austin or not Austin, Nick doing the same shit. And I'm like, Nick, what? And that's when I think that like really started like solidifying in my mind the kind of person that he is. I'm like, because I we saw him do it with Bella too. Maybe not in like I love yous, but where he was acting like he was all about her, and then just because she holds herself to a specific standard, he
Good
was
for
like,
her. I love
well
that
now,
though.
but no, but you didn't peep how he started changing, and he was like, well now I feel like she doesn't like me the way that she says she does, blah blah blah. I'm like, why? Because she decides that she wants to wait and see if you're even the right guy that she wants to be kissing up on.
I love that though. I
She
really
was
did
over
love that.
there, she was sitting there like frustrated as hell. And what was the back, like how they were showing clips of what Nick was doing versus what she was doing in that
Yeah.
moment. She's crying, frustrated. Nick is over here with his hands hovering over Sierra's boobs while they're in the
Is
photo
it
booth.
is a tale as old as time, dude. Tale
She
as old
said
as
something
time.
though that, well, let me see where it is. Oh, Bella said, and I really respected her for this, and this made me like her even more. Bella's probably one of my favorites right now. Bella said emotions or tears aren't a sign of weakness; they're a sign of growth, and she realized it in that moment.
I
And
did
I was
hear
like,
that.
yes, girl,
Yeah.
I love that because yes, they are, because it all showed you like I don't want to be messing with you no more.
I
And when
love
she
that.
told him
Yeah.
that, and he looked confused. He was like, "Wait, I don't got options no more. Like I'm stuck with just one." You saw the
Mhm.
way that man kind of like recoiled immediately when she was like, "I don't know if I want to do this, continue doing this with you." I'm like,
We're gonna have to see. So you know that we're all about truth. So that truth bomb and everyone's talking about it. That was at the end of Thursday episode when they just left us without any freaking previews, without anything, just Jeremiah's like expression. What do you think? What do you think he's gonna say? And loves, please drop your comments, drop your guesses, post. I want to know who thinks Jeremiah is gonna stay or Jeremiah's gonna.
I don't know with him. I don't have a good enough read on him. Like
He's all about
one side,
family. He says, I'm
he
all about
is.
family. I love family.
But one side of my brain, the one that's like very hopeful, is like, okay, you know what? He's gonna prove himself to actually genuinely be in it for like to find a relationship. And he's obviously naturally is gonna need to take maybe the night to like really process, because that is, I mean, not it's a lot
It's
of
a lot.
information for
It's a lot.
anyone,
It's a lot.
especially when you're like, okay, you're 24, I'm 25, like you have a kid, and like
He
I didn't
doesn't know
love
how
the
old the
the
kid
eyebrow.
is.
Yeah, I didn't love the eyebrow raise that he did when she
It
said
was judgy, right?
yeah,
It's like,
it was very judgy, but I wasn't sure if it was like judgy in the sense of mm, like you were busy apparently, or like judgy in the sense of like
why didn't you
I
tell
wasn't
me?
expecting it. Yeah, and like why didn't you tell me? So like one side of me wants to hope that he's like, he's going to process naturally as anyone should, and then he's going to come back and be like, you know what, I want to continue to get to know you, and like I understand that you having a kid, it's part of who you are.
Uh,
That's one side of me wants to hope that, but
well,
then there's the
that's
other side of that,
maturity, but that's
yeah,
maturity.
I know, but then there's the other side that's like he might just be a 25-year-old that's like, nah, I don't want to deal with you and your kid, and like
Well, we're
deuces,
gonna
and then
find
goes
out.
and tells all his boys about it.
Of course, he's gonna tell his boys
And
about it.
I think that's my biggest thing, is that like regardless of what he does, I just
Well, that's what
I hope
will.
he respects her at least enough to not, and again, I don't
But
even know.
that to me is dictated by your maturity. And
Yeah.
guess what? If he walks away, if he throws shade, I think it'll be for her, it'll be like, you know what? I don't need this shit because he's not showing the maturity I need. So that'll be her red flag to be like, okay, cool.
Because realistically, like, especially given that, she's 24, she is a mom. I don't know. I might, I'm pretty sure she said she's a single mom, but like, she's a mom. That's gonna be that's a part of a big part of who she is at this point.
And
Like
a
she
child
needs
is
some.
not a
She does,
scarlet
yeah.
letter. A child
No, it's
is
not. But she does need someone who's emotionally mature and
a
mentally
hundred
mature enough
percent.
to be like, you know what, I'm gonna continue forward with this. And it's funny because I wasn't expecting it, but I started like I've been reading a lot more like recently, especially on my Kindle, because with all like moving and stuff, it's just I need something that I can take like, it's easy.
Mobility,
And the
yeah.
book that I just started is actually about a woman who it's like it's part of a series, but it she's a single mom. She's a widowed single mom with three boys.
Oh.
And this kind of like one of the things that just happened in the book was that like she was getting to know someone and she told them she was like, "Hey, I'm a single mom." I'm like blah 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 whatever. The guy didn't pay like not that he didn't pay no mind, but he was like, "No, I want to continue like getting to know you." And then he met her boys and because he had it was an insane run-in with them, granted, but because of that, oh, you know what? It might have been the book actually where they said it, and that's what I'm thinking about. But either way, it still applies to this. But so he has like this wild run-in with like her boys, and because they're super naturally, they're super overprotective with their mom. Like it's just her, like their dad had passed and stuff, and they have this wild run-in, becomes this whole thing. Guy never calls her again, and
Mm.
obviously it's really early into the book, but one of the conversations that happens in the book, especially at that point, like I think it comes from her friend actually. So it wasn't from the show or like Twitter. It was in the book that I read this. It just all kind of,
Clicked.
yeah, clicked. But the friend goes to her and she's like, "You know what? If he genuinely liked you, it wouldn't matter if he found out now or later.
Yeah.
If he likes you, he would accept the fact that you are a mother. It is going to be a part of who you are for the rest of your life, and he would continue forward with you."
And we're damn lucky to be moms. Thank you very
Hell
much.
yeah.
Not you, me.
No,
Um,
exactly. I'm supporting y'all.
well, we will see tonight what the truth bomb does to Jeremiah. And Avani and I will be back with those updates and talking about tonight. Before we get to that episode, every week we're gonna use our messy meter and we're gonna decide so far this week who's on your messy meter, who's the messiest.
For me, it would either be Ace or Nick. But I'm almost kind of leaning more towards Ace. But I don't know. It's
I'm
hard to.
I'm gonna say at least for this week so far, it definitely has been Nick for me. He's messy. I don't know. But hey, it's early on, week 1.
It's between those two for me. It's
We're gonna
hard
we're
because
gonna see. We're gonna see
it's
what
like
happens.
Nick. You know what it is? It's that Nick is low key messy. He doesn't. He's not very. He doesn't project it.
I
He
I don't
doesn't.
know.
He makes a false. He creates a false impression of who he is.
I don't know. I see right through that shit. Sorry. No
Yeah,
offense,
it's
Nick,
very
but
like all offense.
well,
That's
every week we'll decide on our own who's the messiest on our messy meter. But loves, we will be back next week with an update. Hopefully, we won't spoil spoil your fun too much. But definitely drop in the comments what you think and who is your pick for the messiest on our messy meter. Let us know, and we'll be back next week. Have a great weekend, loves.
bye y'all.
Bye.